From Carl Jung, Chapter 1, The Stages of Life. To discuss the problems connected with the stages of human development is an exacting task, for it means nothing less than unfolding a picture of psychic life in its entirety from cradle to the grave. Within the framework of a lecture, such a task can be carried out only on the broadest lines, and it must be well understood that no attempt will be made to describe the normal psychic occurrences within the various stages. We shall restrict ourselves rather to certain problems, that is, to things that are difficult, questionable, or ambiguous, in a word, to questions which allow of more than one answer, and, moreover, answers that are always open to doubt. For this reason, there will be much to which we must add a question mark in our thoughts. Worse still, there will be some things we must accept purely on faith, while now and then we must even indulge in speculations. From Carl Jung, Chapter 1, The Stages of Life, the Structure and Dynamics of the Mind. If psychic life consisted only of self-evident matters of fact, which on a primitive level is still the case, we could content ourselves with a sturdy empiricism. The psychic life of civilized man, however, is full of problems. We cannot even think of it except in terms of problems. Our psychic processes are made up to a large extent of reflections, doubts, anxieties, all of which are almost completely foreign to the unconscious, instinctive mind of primitive man. It is the growth of the mind which we must thank for the existence of problems. They are the, as he put it, Dianian gift of civilization. It is just man's turning away from instinct, his opposing himself, that creates conscious awareness, or we could call it mind power. Instinct is nature. It seeks to perpetuate nature, whereas mind power can only seek culture or its denial. Even when we turn back to nature, inspired by Rosciaxucu's longing, we cultivate nature. As long as we are still submerged in nature, we are unconscious and we live in the security of instinct. Everything in us that still belongs to nature shrinks away from a problem, for its name is doubt. And where several ways seem possible, there we have turned away from the certain guidance that is handed over to us. For consciousness is now called upon to do that which nature cannot, namely to give a certain unquestionable and unequivocal decision. And here we are beset by an all too human fear that consciousness, our Promethean conquest, may in the end not be able to serve us as well as nature. Problems thus draw us into an orphaned state and isolated, where we are abandoned by nature and are driven to mind power. There is no other way open to us. We are forced to resort to conscious decisions and solutions where formerly we trusted ourselves. Now we have to make sacrifices. Every problem, therefore, brings the possibility of a widening of consciousness, but also the necessity of saying goodbye to childlike unconsciousness and trust in nature. This necessity is a psychic fact of such extreme importance that it constitutes one of the most essential symbolic teachings of the original Christian faith. It is the supposed sacrifice of the merely natural man with all of his desires and lusts. The unconscious man, ingenious as he is, who's being tragically turned over to a state of paradise. The biblical fall of man presents the dawn of consciousness as a curse, And as a matter of fact, it is in this light that we first look upon every problem that forces us to greater mind power and separates us even further from the paradise of blindness. Every one of us gladly turns away from his or her problems. If possible, they must not even be mentioned, but, better still, their existence denied. We wish to make our lives simple, certain, and smooth, and for that reason, problems are taboo. We want to have certainties and no problems, results and no experiments, without even seeing that certainties do not exist. The artful denial of a problem will not produce conviction, however. On the contrary, a wider and higher consciousness is a beautiful thing.